Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's jump straight into this. If you live around Warren, Hermitage, Banks, or, well, really anywhere in Bradley County, you already know our deep South Arkansas pine country is absolutely beautiful. But here's the thing. The exact same conditions that make those pine forests grow so incredibly fast, they also create a hidden, super fast-growing threat right inside our homes. So today, we're unpacking the reality of indoor mold. We're going to break down exactly how it behaves in our specific neck of the woods, why those common DIY tricks actually make the problem way worse, and what a real certified cleanup actually looks like.
So why is Bradley County such a massive magnet for mold? Well, it's basically the perfect storm. We are sitting right in one of the most humid pockets of South Arkansas. Our summer relative humidity routinely hangs out above 75% for months on end. Throw in those sudden pop-up storm cells, that timber region soil that just loves to hold on to moisture right up against our foundations, and of course, our classic pier and beam crawl spaces. And you've got a literal recipe for constant moisture creeping in.
And when that moisture does get in, man, the clock starts ticking a lot faster than most folks realize. 24 to 48, that's it. That is the number of hours, literally just 1 to 2 days, that it takes for a mold colony to set up shop inside a wall cavity. A single roof leak after a wild spring storm, a slow, completely hidden drip from your fridge's water line, or maybe just a poorly sealed bathroom exhaust fan. That's all it takes. By the time you actually notice it, it's already been hard at work.
And here is a really crucial point we need to get across. Mold isn't just some ugly, annoying stain that you can casually wipe away. No, mold is a structural parasite. It treats your home's building materials like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Drywall, paper, subfloor adhesive, wood framing, attic insulation, all of this is literally food to a mold colony. If you leave it alone for just one warm, sticky Arkansas summer, what starts as a tiny bit of moisture can straight up rot out an entire stud bay, and suddenly you're looking at a major structural repair.
But listen, it's not just your house that's in danger here. It's the people living inside it. Both the CDC and the Arkansas Department of Health classify indoor mold as a severe health hazard. Let's look at the absolute worst offender, Stachybotrys, which most of us just call black mold. This specific species produces mycotoxins. These are highly toxic compounds that are directly linked to chronic respiratory issues, brutal headaches, and even immune dysfunction. So yeah, dealing with mold, it's not just a weekend home improvement project, it is a critical health intervention.
And unfortunately, the danger doesn't stop there. It's not just black mold you need to be worried about. The much more common species, like Aspergillus, Cladosporium, and Penicillia, are incredibly aggressive allergens. They trigger intense indoor allergy symptoms and can dramatically worsen chronic respiratory conditions. This is a very real daily threat to vulnerable family members. I'm talking about kids, seniors, and absolutely anyone who deals with asthma.
Okay, so how do you actually know if this hidden threat is lurking in your home? Let's go through the homeowner warning checklist. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Do you catch a musty, kind of locker room odor in certain rooms? Are your kids developing this persistent cough or getting frequent sinus infections? Maybe someone's asthma is suddenly just taking a turn for the worse. Or, here's a big one, do you wake up with morning congestion that mysteriously completely clears up as soon as you leave the house for the day? When you combine those health red flags with visual clues like new water stains, dark spots popping up on baseboards, peeling paint, or a sagging crawl space, you've got a massive problem on your hands.
Now, if you spot those signs, your very first instinct is probably going to be to grab a bottle of bleach and a sponge, right? But hold on, because there is a massive difference between the DIY bleach myth and the scientific reality. The myth is that bleach kills mold, but the reality? On porous materials like drywall or wood, bleach literally only removes the color. It bleaches the stain so it becomes invisible, but the actual root system is left completely alive inside the wall. And to make matters worse, since household bleach is mostly just water, you're actually feeding those hidden roots and driving the spores even deeper.
And honestly, that exact mistake leads us to a pretty terrifying number, $15,000. Yeah, scrubbing active mold with a brush and some hardware store spray without proper sealed containment is an absolute disaster. That friction launches millions of invisible mold spores straight into your home's airflow, spreading the entire colony to your furniture, your HVAC system, your bedrooms, everywhere. What could have been a localized, maybe $1,500 cleanup, it explodes into a massive $15,000 whole home remediation nightmare. All because someone spent their Saturday trying to scrub it away themselves.
So let's look at the 5-step certified remediation process.
This right here is how the pros permanently solve the issue. It's a clear roadmap with 5 distinct, completely non-negotiable steps.
inspection, containment, removal, drying, and finally, clearance testing. There's no guessing here, no throwing fog bombs and hoping for the best. It's just a strict, scientific approach to safely getting rid of the hazard.
Let's zoom in on steps 1 and 2. Find and isolate. Before anyone even touches a piece of drywall, certified crews map out the hidden colonies using calibrated moisture meters and infrared thermal imaging. And then they back all that data up with lab-tested air samples. Once they know exactly where the enemy is hiding, they move straight to containment. They completely seal off the work zone using heavy poly sheeting, and they run these massive, commercial HEPA-filtered negative air machines. It basically creates a vacuum effect. That way, when the mold is disturbed, not a single rogue spore can drift into the clean, living areas of your house.
Moving right along to steps 3 and 4, remove and dehumidify. This is where the heavy lifting really happens. Any porous materials that the mold has eaten its way into, like drywall and insulation, they just can't be saved. They are carefully cut out, bagged up, and removed completely. Then, the salvageable structural framing gets meticulously HEPA vacuumed and treated with EPA-registered antimicrobials. But you know what the real secret to permanent success is here? Drying. Professionals bring in these heavy-duty commercial-grade dehumidifiers to force the wood moisture content below 16%. If you don't hit that exact metric, the mold is just going to grow right back next season. And that, right there, is exactly where DIY attempts always fail.
And that brings us to the final step. Step 5, post-remediation verification via a third-party clearance air test. This is huge because it guarantees total transparency in the professional process. An independent lab comes in, tests the air, and actually proves that the home is completely clean. You walk away with a written, lab-backed record. That document is absolute gold. It is exactly what your insurance carrier, your bank, or, hey, even a future buyer of your home is absolutely going to demand to see. But look, applying this whole process effectively requires true boots-on-the-ground local knowledge. If you're in Warren, Hermitage, Banks, Hampton, or Fortis, you need a team that really understands our specific building stock. I mean, they need to know the typical failure points of those beautiful historic homes near Cypress Street, the post-war brick homes over Long Pine in Maine, and of course the rural ranch properties out in the county. Most importantly, they absolutely have to understand the severe vulnerability of our local pier and beam foundations when those ground vapor barriers inevitably fail in our timber industry climate. Which brings us to your very next step. If you're recognizing any of those warning signs we've talked about today, you've got a local lifeline. Give the Mold Remediation Hotline a call at 332-220-0303. They offer free phone consultations, free on-site inspections if you're dealing with active water damage, and they have a 24/7 emergency response team that will literally work right alongside your insurance carrier. Protect your home, protect your family, and just let the certified experts handle it the right way the very first time.
So I want to leave you with this final thought today. Take a good look around your home. Listen to what your body is telling you. Is hidden moisture already compromising your family's health? If you have even a shadow of a doubt, please do not wait for a $1,500 fix to turn into a $15,000 structural disaster. Call 332-220-0303 before that colony spreads. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay safe out there and take good care of your homes.